In this video, I'm gonna address what the difference is between a car paint sealant and a car wax. And also, I'm gonna talk about when to choose one over the other and why. Now let's get straight into this. What's up YouTube? This is Luke Wilson and welcome to the Wilson Auto Detailing YouTube channel. I've had a ton of subscribers and viewers write in and ask me what exactly the difference is between a car paint sealant and a car wax, because so many people use those terms interchangeably, but they're different, and so what makes them different? I've also had a ton of subscribers ask when to use a sealant over the wax and if you can use a wax and a sealant both together. So I want to address all those questions and clear up the confusion. Now here I've got with me a carnauba based wax, a synthetic polymer based wax, and a synthetic sealant. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm actually going to demonstrate how each of these perform, what they do, and why to use them on these three separate panels, and you're going to be able to see exactly the visual difference, and I'm going to explain the protective barrier difference and a couple other things. Now let's talk first about what a sealant is. Now the main difference between sealants and waxes is that a sealant is going to be something that is pretty much 100% of the time made with just man-made synthetic polymers. There's not really any natural ingredients in this, and the reason that's a distinction is because most of the time in the detailing world, sealants are compared to like carnauba waxes, and of course carnauba waxes have natural carnauba properties in them from the carnauba plant in Brazil. And so with a sealant, you're not really getting any natural ingredients whatsoever, and there's really not any carnauba at all in this product whatsoever. Now the other biggest difference that exists between a sealant and a wax is that a sealant not only doesn't contain any natural properties or carnauba, but it also really provides a greater layer of protection as far as like longevity of protection goes. A sealant is going to last much longer than a wax does because a sealant actually has a much higher melting point than a wax does, and so not only does that increase the durability and the longevity of it, but because a sealant is totally made up of just polymers and it's man-made, it's kind of like putting a protective shield or a protective jacket or layer on the car rather than like a carnauba wax almost melts into the car. It gives that sort of feel and appearance. This is really just something that sits on the outside of a car, kind of like a protective barrier. Now for the most part, both sealants and waxes have pretty much two jobs, and that's to not just visually enhance the paint, but also protect the paint. Now these days, a lot of sealants are made with almost like a certain amount of polishes in them where they're able to remove really fine scratches, very, very light oxidation and things like that, very light swirl marks. So this one-step sealant by Griot's Garage that I'm actually going to be demonstrating in today's video, this does actually provide a sort of polish effect as well, in that this is not just a sealant, but it also contains very, very fine abrasives that will remove a certain layer of very, very fine surface swirls or fine scratches. Now let's get into what exactly a wax is. Now of course waxes have two main jobs just like sealants do, and that's going to be visually enhancing and protecting the paint. Now just like I've talked about in other videos, spray waxes are not only easier to apply and easier to take off, but they also provide a little bit lesser layer of durability, whereas paste waxes are going to last longer, they're going to protect the paint a little bit more. As far as visually enhancing goes, it really depends on the kind of wax you have. So for example, right here I've got a cleaner wax that is carnauba based. Now because it's carnauba based, a lot of car enthusiasts really prefer the carnauba based waxes because they're kind of have a reputation of creating this sort of rich, deep glow in the paint, as opposed to like synthetic waxes that just kind of protect and make it a little bit shinier. The carnauba, people say, almost makes this depth of field look, and people really, really like that. Now these two waxes in particular are a cleaning wax that's carnauba based and Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax, and these are what I'm going to be comparing not only side by side to each other, but also to this one-step sealant by Griot's Garage. Now as you can see, I've taped off my car into three sections. The biggest section here is going to be where I'm going to apply the sealant. This bottom section right here is where I'm going to apply the carnauba spray wax, and then up here is where I'm going to apply Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax. Now as a rule, it's also important to understand that sealants for the most part nowadays are going to almost without fail, last for about a year. Most manufacturers say that their sealants are going to last anywhere from 6 months to a year, whereas carnauba-based paste waxes or spray waxes most of the time are going to last somewhere around 6 to 8 weeks, and then paste waxes just that are synthetic and kind of polymer-based are going to last probably anywhere from about 12 to 20 weeks are what most manufacturers say. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and apply both waxes, and then we're going to compare both waxes, the paste wax and the carnauba wax, side by side, and then we'll get into the sealant. So with Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax, not only does it smell incredible, I love the way this wax smells, but I just apply it with just a simple microfiber application sponge. I get these at like the dollar store. And all you do is rub in the wax just like this, and you guys can tell I'm actually doing this in the direct sun. And so Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax is something that even the label says that you can use in the direct sun, which is super awesome for a mobile detailing world because I'm in the sun all the time. And this paint is extremely, extremely hot. Like, I can't hold my hand on it, and I'm really letting this wax sit for just a little bit. And so it's pretty amazing just the polymer technology in this as far as putting it on and taking it off in the sun, how easy it comes on and off. See, I'm barely even rubbing and this wax is coming right off. Now, a quick just myth and disclaimer that I want to kind of debunk is that a lot of people say that you need to apply wax like back and forth, or you need to apply wax in a circular motion, because if you apply wax in a circular motion, then it's going to create swirl marks, or if you apply it in a back and forth, it's not going to create swirl marks, and the scratches that it puts in are going to be easy to take out. And that's just not true. The only way that a wax is going to scratch your paint is if the applicator you're using has some sort of minerals or something in it, because a wax by definition has no abrasives, has no minerals, nothing like that. So the only way it's going to scratch your paint is if, number one, the applicator is dirty and it has minerals or something in it, or the paint has not been decontaminated correctly and you're actually swirling minerals that have been stuck to the paint that you didn't take off. Now let's go ahead and apply the carnauba spray wax. So this spray wax in particular is actually not supposed to be applied in the sun, and so just a quick kind of tip for all you pro detailers or car enthusiasts, the driveway warriors: if you want to apply something like this that can't necessarily be applied in the sun, but you're doing it in the sun, just do it in small sections. So like, this is a very small section that I'm doing, and so this is not going to be on the paint for very long before I remove it. And so that's a great idea for if you're wanting to do it in the sun. So this stuff sprays on white just like this. And again, this is carnauba based. And so this apparently is supposed to create a sort of more rich, warm, deep glow in the paint than just a synthetic wax like this one. So let's find out. Now, I'm going to take you guys in, and I want you guys to see if you can judge really the difference between these two panels and these two waxes. So here is the top panel that was waxed with the Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax. Here's the bottom panel that was waxed with the carnauba wax. Obviously, I have not done the tires. This is just for the sake of the video. So here, I'm going to pull back a little bit. I'm going to let you guys see the two panels. Now, I don't know if you can tell a difference in the camera or not. You guys are going to have to be the judge. I'll give you another angle here, more towards the right. So here, once again, Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax, and then the carnauba-based spray wax. So here, we'll get really close. So once again, they both look great. You can definitely see me through the paint, just it's reflecting off. Very, very, very shiny surface. Definitely a deep glow, I would say. But there you go. There's carnauba, and there's Ultimate Paste Wax. Now, it may be a little bit difficult to tell the difference in the camera, I'm not even sure, but even in person, honestly, it's a little hard for me to tell the difference because, once again, both waxes really just do an amazing job, but I do think, especially in person, it's safe to say that the carnauba-based wax definitely creates that more of like deep, almost like deep, glossy glow, like warm look, and so I think that's definitely a good description that the car enthusiast enthusiasts really have held to, that carnauba-based waxes really give a deep glow. But again, the Ultimate Paste Wax is going to provide a greater layer of protection, not just because it's a paste wax, but also because it's synthetic. A lot of times carnauba-based waxes kind of melt off or come off the paint easier than the synthetic polymer kind of newer technology waxes do. Now let's go ahead and get into the sealant part of this video. Now we've already talked about what a sealant is and what kind of differentiates a sealant and a wax, but in particular for this video, I'm going to be using Griot's Garage one-step sealant coupled with Griot's Garage random orbital dual action polisher and Griot's Garage microfiber and foam finishing pad. So I'm using a finishing pad because a sealant for the most part is going to be used as a finisher. So like after you get done polishing, you're going to want to use a sealant to finish the car with because it's just going to bind everything together. It's just like that last layer of protection after you've polished. But you don't have to polish before you use a sealant. You can use a sealant at any time. You don't have to polish beforehand. You could seal your car just because you want to protect it. But I'm going to use a finishing pad because I'm not doing any cutting or like heavy abrading or heavy polishing or compounding. This is just a simple sealant. So I'm going to go ahead and use the finishing pad. Now what I'm going to do is shake it up just a little bit because of course compounds, polishes, sealants tend to settle and separate. I'm not going to use a ton of sealant. I don't need to use a lot because a little goes a long way. So let's go ahead and check out how much I'm going to put on this pad. So on my finishing pad here, I'm just going to put a couple dots. Really no big deal. I'm not going overboard at all. So you can see right there, that's all I'm doing. Now what I'm going to do is kind of apply this to the paint and just rub it around a little bit, because if I don't do that, the sealant kind of will just sling everywhere and it makes me clean up a lot, and I just don't want to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on a mild speed setting. I'm going to put it at about a 4. Now this is a DA polisher, so I'm not taping off this edge because I'm just not going to burn this edge. There's no chance of me burning this edge with this polisher. I promise. I've got experience doing this now, so I'm not taping that edge off. But I'm just going to work the sealant into the paint just little by little, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because with a DA polisher it takes a little bit longer time, but I'm just working the sealant into the paint, letting those polymers bond to the surface. And now I'm just going to take a clean microfiber towel and I'm just going to wipe off the excess, just kind of buff off the excess sealant if there is any. Okay, so here we go. Here's the finished sealed side. Now once again, it looks incredible, right? Now this is my own car, so it's definitely been maintained well. The paint has been maintained in very good condition, but this isn't just a sealant. This is kind of an all-in-one, a cleaner polish and synthetic wax sealant. So this is going to remove any fine swirls as well, so the paint definitely just looks incredible. But let me take you in for a closer look. So I'll give you a few angles here, but here is the sealed panel. Looks really incredible. If you get up real close, you can definitely see just the depth of my reflection in there. The paint, you know, the sun's shining right on it. I mean, you see zero swirl marks whatsoever. Now, once again, this is my own paint and I'm a detailer, so obviously this paint has been maintained very well, but I mean, absolutely zero imperfections whatsoever. It just looks incredible. And once again, this is direct sunlight, so this synthetic sealant can be used in the sun, but that paint just, it looks absolutely incredible. Now, of course, you guys can be the judge on whether or not you can tell a difference between these three panels. A lot of times you're getting into kind of splitting hairs when you're comparing things like this because they all look so good. But you guys be the judge if you can tell a difference. Now, all of these surfaces look absolutely amazing. We've addressed the difference between a wax and a sealant. We've addressed the difference between synthetic polymer-based waxes and cleaner waxes or carnauba waxes. And now the only last thing I want to kind of address is, can you use a wax and a sealant both? And the answer is absolutely. After I've sealed the paint, if you really want to go for an extra measure and a layer of protection, let's say you polish the paint, you seal the paint, but now you really just want to go through maybe a more depth of shine or a greater layer of protection, I can take my Meguiar's Ultimate Paste Wax and I can apply this to the entire panel that I just sealed. It's going to put that greater layer of protection on it. It's going to maybe even increase just the visual enhancement. It's going to make the visual enhancement even better, really just get that extreme depth of shine. And so here's a panel that has been sealed and that has been waxed, and that's what it looks like. Of course, you could follow up with a carnauba-based wax if you want. I just grabbed this because this is what I have in front of me. But you can absolutely apply a wax after a sealant if that's something you're interested in doing, and if that's something your customer is paying for, it's definitely a level up in service. Now, just as an added note, Griot's Garage One-Step Sealant is a pretty basic product, but I really like it a lot. It's one of those retail products that's very professional grade, but it's a really amazing sealant because not only is it sealing and protecting the paint for actually up to a year, it says protects paint for up to 1 full year, but it's also removing those fine oxidation, fine swirl marks, fine scratches. And so anything beneath the clear coat, this is not gonna do anything about it. But this is gonna not only enhance the paint surface in like a wax sort of way and a wax sort of glossy look, but it's also going to do a certain level of paint enhancement or paint correction in that it's fixing those really fine scratches. And so I definitely recommend this Griot's Garage One-Step Sealant. So guys, that's all I got for you today. Once again, if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing YouTube channel, then definitely consider subscribing because I come out with daily videos just like this one on tips and tricks, not only for the professional detailers, but also for the do-it-yourselfers on products, tools, and strategies to use, but also things like business skills, communication skills, and all sorts of stuff. And I'm actually doing a polishing series right now, and this is episode 2 in the polishing series that I'm coming out with. Guys, if this video helped you, make sure to give it a thumbs up if it added some value to your life. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to link those up in the comment section below. And of course, some of the best advice comes from you guys, the Wilson Auto Detailing community. So make sure to hook up with everybody in the comment section. And lastly, if you guys want any of the products I talked about today, whether it be synthetic waxes, carnauba-based waxes, or the Griot's Garage One-Step Sealant, then I will put those in the description box below for you. You can use the links below in the description box. They'll take you straight to Amazon. It's a very safe link. And if you use my links to buy those products, then I get a little bit of a commission and it helps this channel stay alive. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. And from Luke Wilson here at Wilson Auto Detailing, I will see you guys in the next video. So on my pad here, I'm just gonna make a couple dabs. Oh, it's not open.